pe Ioan, mergeți după el în casă, în care va intra, și spuneți stăpânului casei, învățătorul zice, unde este încăperea în care să mănânc paștile cu ucenicii mei? Și acela vă va arăta un foișor mare, care să dă pentru voi, aceasta să o faceți spre pomenirea mea.
All right, you're okay.
Did one of you ever have somebody lose their arm? Remember Hollywood.
Yes, he was in America to get his future job.
I have ID card.
You have to go on the bus.
Not far from the location of the Last Supper, huh? Very close. Still on Mount Zion we are. Are you with me? Let's go inside. For the second point of the Spirit.
Again, the high priest asked him to say, and said to him, "Are you?" Of that, the high priest tore their garments and said, "What further need have we of witnesses? You have heard the blasphemy. What do you think?" They all condemned him as deserving to die. Some began to spit on him. They blindfolded him and struck him and said to him, "Prophesy." And the guards greeted him with blows.
I forget who it was or when it was when I first heard that when we read Scripture, we are essentially reading our own story. But I believe that's true. That's not a hard reality to deal with when we're reading miracles like Jesus feeding 5,000, because most of us can imagine or can remember a time in which we were either fed ourselves or which we were like the little child who brings some meager offering to Jesus that Jesus takes and multiplies, or even to imagine that we were like the disciples trying to help out. What's a little harder is when we get to scriptures like the ones we are remembering here in this place. It's a little harder for us to ask the question, when have I been like Caiaphas? When have I been like the guards who arrested him? When have I done things that are so very difficult for us to read about in Scripture? And so they are sometimes the Scriptures that we avoid because, frankly, they hurt us. It's painful to stay there very long, and we want to rush to the resurrection as quickly as we can. But perhaps the only way that we can be fully shaped in the image of God is if we're willing to sit in the painful place for a little while and to say, no, there are times in which I have been like Caiaphas. There have been times in which I have been like those who arrested him. Because that kind of brings to the surface the first of the Beatitudes that we saw on the first day out. Blessed are the poor in spirit. I think the poor in spirit are blessed not because they're poor, but because they recognize their poverty. And so perhaps in this sacred place, we do well to sit and remember the times in which we have been other than that which we would be, and to let that recognition of our own spiritual poverty, which is very much a part of our journey, to expose and make vulnerable parts of our lives to Christ that perhaps cannot be made vulnerable unless we're willing to sit in the difficult place. And when that happens, then for us, the house of Caiaphas becomes part of our healing as well as part of our wound. It is not a pleasant part of the journey, but it is perhaps a necessary part and one of the vehicles through which Christ heals us.
Charcoal fire. The Roman servants and the soldiers were here pointing to Peter as Peter was warming up at the fire, and the denial that happened 3 times before the cock crow. Believe me, sometimes when we are leaving here, we hear the roosters. All the time, sometimes it happens, many times, but it depends. Here, when we were standing on the shores of the Sea of Galilee, the primacy of Peter, and the disciples were fishing, and when Jesus said to them, throw your nets on the right side of the boat, as he was right on the shore, preparing a charcoal fire, so for them to have a meal together. 2 charcoal fire. The denial 3 times, and the love 3 times. That when he asked Peter, do you love me 3 times? I mean, it's like a cage, it's a system.
After arresting Jesus, they led him away and took him into the house of the high priest. Peter was following at a distance. They lit a fire in the middle of the courtyard and sat around it, and Peter sat down with them. When a maid saw him seated in the light, she looked intently at him and said, "This man too was with him." But he denied it, saying, "Woman, I do not know him." A short while later, someone else saw him and said, "You too are one of them." But Peter answered, "My friend, I am not." About an hour later, still another insisted, "Assuredly, this man too was with him, for he also is a Galilean." But Peter said, "My friend, I do not know what you are talking about." Just as he was saying this, the cock crowed. The Lord turned and looked at Peter, and Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he had said to him, "Before the cock crows today, you will deny me 3 times." He went out and began to weep bitterly.
It's part of the villa that is known as the villa of Caiaphas. Now we're going to go further to the pit. In the pit we have Napoli, those who can't, can stay here with me.
We're going down into the pit. This is the lower.
At night I clamor in your presence. Let my prayer come before you. Incline your ear to hear my call for help. For my soul is suffocated with troubles, and my life draws near to the nether world. I am numbered with those who go down into the pit. I am a man without strength.
The location of the garden in Gethsemane. It has all of it. Okay, we're going to go there. But my question and my answer is that I want you to look at the distance. From there,
From here all the way up there, you're tired. Look at the steps, and high steps, and we're talking about a full step area. So this is a mountain. And I have to step in here of 70 people. I mean, from the upper city to the lower city, the Inland Valley. Nothing compared to what Francisco Castle.
earlier today after lunch, guys, what would happen to you? They can see what would happen now. You know, listen to this. Listen to this. Then we can see the walls and see the but Bill is standing and taking a picture.
You can't see it from.
Because you want the horse, I want the doctor. We can go close to the back. Okay, let's go to the back.
The child that you see there, by the way. Let me have. Oh my God, look at Lawrence of Arabia. Lawrence of Arabia. Oh my God. You see the monastery to the left side with the three domes. That is the Greek Orthodox monastery that was built here in the 5th century. Inside the monastery, there's only one entrance. See where the people are standing on the staircase? There's one entrance, you enter into it, and inside of it, there's a cave. And that is the cave where traditionally Jesus meditated for 40 days and 40 nights. Inside the monastery is the location of the cave.
No way.
That was a fortress that was built by Herod the Great, just like Masada. Remember, we're going to go to Masada on Monday, but here in the area of Jericho. So who loved Jericho also? Herod the Great loved Jericho. The people came down, and they started the urbanization life. You know, they came here 10,000 years ago. They started the first city that was known as the city of Jericho. So the first city that existed here was built by the people who lived in these caves. So they lived in these caves, and I can tell you and assure you, it is one of the most beautiful views if you go there on the top looking down. It's a beautiful view of the whole entire area. Plus, you can see the mountains of Moab. Plus, you can see exactly almost opposite the mountain where Moses looked over the promised land. Are you with me?
I'm with you.
And so it's facing each other. It's holy because Jesus loved to come to Jericho. But let's go before that. It was Joshua who came to Jericho, and when he crossed the Jordan River, we talked about that yesterday, and then he put the 12 stones for the 12 tribes of Israel. The Ark of the Covenant rested here in Jericho. And you know, as he blew the trumpets and they circled the city for 7 times, and then the walls of Jericho came tumbling down. Also, talking about Elijah. Elijah, when he went up to heaven on the chariots of fire, where did he go from? Right here, this very place. What did I say when the transfiguration happened, the miracle of the transfiguration? That Jesus prayed with Moses and Elijah. And you know, Elijah had some sympathy for Elisha, because Elisha asked him, can I gain double of your portion?
Get it back, over there.
These in the picture?
Oh my, look how he does that. Yeah. He scratches it.
Uh-oh, be careful.
That's right.
They're coming right here.
All right, let's have a smile. Look like you're not afraid.
Imagine going 100 miles.
They're looking up the camel spit. Move, boys.
Been nice to know all you people. What is it? Shalom, y'all.
Salam alaikum.
Shalom, y'all.
Brooke, I say you should get on it.
That was tough for him, wasn't it?
Your name?
My name is Asif.
Yasif?
Yeah.
And how long you been working here?
4 or 5 years old.
4 or 5 years. And where's your hometown? Where were you born?
What? I don't understand, sir.
Where were you born?
I'm born from there. This is home, here. Yeah.
How you like working here in Jericho?
Yeah, that's good. That's very good. I like Jericho. That's my home. That's my country. You know that?
When Americans come, what do you think of Americans?
Yes, that's very good people. That's nice people. That's democratic people. That's the same Palestinian people. Yeah, you know that, sir. That's he have freedom. He have democracy. He's very good people. You know that?
Who?
Yeah.
Do you know who our president is? Barack Obama.
Yeah, that's very good president. Yeah.
And are you married?
What?
Are you married? Wife?
Yeah.
Children?
No children.
That's okay.
Yes, you're welcome, sir.
Explain what you've got here. What is this? What is this?
This is pomegranate juice. I'm get this.
How do you do it?
Like this. That's good for the heart.
That's from Jericho.
Jericho,
Yeah.
pomegranate.
Yeah. And this, you can see
You have the
this.
seeds.
Yeah. And put in here like.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Would you like to go to America one day?
Yeah.
We can get this juice there too, but I don't see it made like this often. Very nice, very nice.
That's it, sir.
How old are you?
I'm 25 years old.
25. Have you been to school at all?
Yeah, I'm studying in university.
You went to university?
Yeah, baccalaureate. I'm enough baccalaureate. I'm with go to the master. Yeah.
You might get a master's degree?
Yeah.
What area of study?
Accent. Accent. I don't give you very good accent.
Accent.
Yeah.
Language?
Yeah, language. Yeah.
How many languages do you speak? You speak some English. It's good English.
Not good. Okay, English and Spain and Brazil. Yeah. Russia.
You speak some Russian?
Not good.
Otherwise, the bus would take us around. It's 50 cents. I don't know.
5 for 10 to the get. 5 for 10. 5 for 10 to the
What is very important to note once we are here is the center gate along the eastern side of the wall of Jerusalem that is known as the Golden Gate, or known as the Beautiful Gate. It's closed with the 2 other arches. Yes. And we can see the pinnacle of the temple right in the corner of the wall. The Kidron Valley, or the Jehoshaphat Valley, or King's Valley. And there we were earlier, Mount Zion, the house of Caiaphas. I can see it right there. Then Jesus came all the way down to the Garden of Gethsemane. Now the walk that we're going to take is the traditional walk, okay? That is the walk where Jesus rode on the donkey, the triumphal entry of Jesus. And that is coming from the top of Mount of Olives, walking down the path all the way along this way, passing the Garden of Gethsemane and entering Jerusalem from the east. That is in the eastern gate. We're going to be in the eastern gate. That's a white cover over there. That is known as the sheep gate. The sheep gate is the eastern gate. We're going to be out of the eastern gate tomorrow when we come out of the Old City. So we're going to enter the Old City from the Christian quarter and then come out the eastern gate. So we have many gates. Jerusalem is an amazing city. You can see clearly from here, it is not a small city. It's very large. It's almost 1 square mile, and it has a lot of winding roads. One of the things, and streets, one of the things to notice from here, because from high elevation is very important before some of you get on the bus, did everybody get on the bus? Is actually where you see the trees, where the Golden Dome is, to the right side, there is a minaret. You see the minaret, the tower? You can see a brown building. The brown building, that is the Antonia Fortress. Again, that is the location of the first and the second station of the cross. That is where the Golden Dome, look to the right side of the Golden Dome, that is the minaret. And I told you about this minaret when we were standing in the house of Caiaphas. So look at the distance from Mount Zion to the Antonia Fortress, from the Antonia Fortress all the way to the Holy Sepulchre Church, where it is in the center part of the city. That is with the 2 black, grayish domes. That's the Holy Sepulchre Church. That is known as the place of the skull. Now, we have 2 places of the skull. The traditional, older tradition of the place of the skull, that is the Holy Sepulchre Church. That is where the last stations of the cross are located, or known as the place, the Golgotha, or Mount Calvary. Then we have more to the right side, another place, known as the Garden Tomb. The Garden Tomb. Also, even though it was discovered at the end of the 19th century by Gordon, we call it the Gordon Garden, it was also a place of a skull. But the Holy Sepulchre nowadays, it's outside, it's inside the walls. It was outside the walls of Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. We have found many burials there. We're going to see, we're going to talk a lot about it. Temple Mount. Why it's called the Temple Mount? Underneath the Dome of the Rock, that was a mountain known as Mount Moriah. You see a mountain, and the answer is no. Because the rock was where the Golden Dome is located here. And then they covered with platforms the whole thing with the retaining wall all around the temple.
so you don't see it. But underneath the platform, we have what was originally the threshing floor, and then also the place that is the holy rock where Abraham brought his son Isaac to be sacrificed over there. And then we have the city of David, and then we have Mount Zion. So the structure of the city has changed from 2,000 years ago to what we see nowadays. And so it's a very sophisticated city. From the days that are really coming, we will get to understand it more and more and more. But I want you to understand that this was the location on this path when Jesus looked over Jerusalem and wept and said, "Oh Jerusalem, Jerusalem, killer of kings and prophets, how I tried to gather you like a hen tried to gather their own chicks and never succeeded, and prayed for the peace of Jerusalem and wept over Jerusalem and fell. One stone to stay on the top of the other." This was the only time that Jesus wept over Jerusalem. And David wept over Jerusalem when his son Absalom revolted against him. David left his city when his son Absalom. Down in the valley, we have something that is called Absalom Pillar. And then also, one more time, we remember when Jesus wept over, that is when he raised his friend Lazarus from the dead. That was in the area of Bethany. Where is Bethany? A stone throw away. Just behind this area, a walk from Jerusalem, within 2 miles radius.
Look like. I think tomorrow's supposed to be better. I think you have to have rain to appreciate the now that
Yes.
coming out. And we appreciate it a bit more.
Nice to see you guys.
They got a periscope?
Listen to me. Listen to me. Wait right here. It's the process. Robert Maxwell is buried there. Robert is from America. American Jew, Robert Maxwell.
What are they buried?
Nahum Begin is buried in these walls with 1535 modern. Even the walls of the old city of Jerusalem are modern for us because they are only 500 years old. You know, we want to go 2,000
It goes forever. You don't see that when you're up there. Oh my gosh. I wonder if we can see that whole...
The women of Jerusalem, many things. Why do you have these tears on the side? I'll tell you why. It's not cheap, it's expensive, talk about $10,000 nowadays. Those actually were Roman glass. Looking, she put it somewhere and then she throws it away. So you keep it, no, don't throw it at it.
There's another one on that side. 7. Why 7? Because when Jesus casted the evil spirit, so over there, where the red roof house, that is the only spring that used to feed Jerusalem. And this, over there, where the slope is right there, that is the city of David. We're going to be at the close proximity of the city of David, but I want to show you the walls of the very old city of Jerusalem. First of all, look at the red roof. The red roof, to the right side of the red roof, there is a staircase. To the right side of the staircase, there is a wall. And the wall actually is like steps. We call them stepped wall. And then, from there, look further more to the right. There's another wall. The one below it dates us to the time of Abraham, 18th century. Area G and Area E, we call them. It's 18th century, and the one on the top, it dates us at the time of King David, 1000 BC. So, it was always a stronghold. Jerusalem, this tiny spot there,
It still amazes us because we find a lot of archaeology over there, a lot of tunnels, a lot of steps, many things to see. But this was known as the stronghold of Zion, became known as later as the city of David, when David unified all the kingdoms. And of course, afterwards he had bloody hand, he couldn't build the temple, so it was his son Solomon who built the temple. Let me tell you about the Garden of Gethsemane, which is located right here on the foot of Mount of Olives. This was a beautiful garden surrounded with many olive trees on the foot of Mount of Olives. There are a lot of olive trees in the area. On the other side of the garden, we have the Kidron Valley, and then the beautiful walls of the old city of Jerusalem. The walls of the old city of Jerusalem were much higher. And one of the gates that we're looking at right here, the two arches, that is known as the Beautiful Gate, or known as the Golden Gate. This is known as the Eastern Wall of Jerusalem. This is known as the Eastern Wall of the Temple of Jerusalem, which was part of the Second Temple that was built from 500 BC, 515, and it was destroyed in 70 AD. When we talk about the Second Temple, meaning the temple that was here 2,000 years ago when Jesus used to come to Jerusalem. And that was known as the Beautiful Gate, always known as the Golden Gate as well.
Ma come sono andate le olive? Erano buone quest'anno? Buone, buone? Bene? Dove lo vedi? Dove stanno le olive? Tipo di formiche. Che stai? Italia? Europa?
Ghana, Africa. Yes. I speak English.
18 recruits. Someone I get stoned. Oh, you did?
Oh my.
Get up at 3 and 4 and go do a couple of things and a couple of good you actually have a snowstorm. You gotta do
Study outside, and when they finish, they will think about it. When I return back, would I find work here?
Where would be the
Because
work?
work is also limited here.
Sure.
So they will think not only twice, many times if they will return back or not. So you are taking out the brains of the country outside. And this is too dangerous for us. Too dangerous for us. Inside our land. This is 67 borders as Geneva Convention says. They built the wall here inside the Palestinian territories. And they are building settlements all over the Palestinian territories. So now I feel like I am in jail. I don't know what future I am talking about. I don't know what future my children will have. And I don't know if we still... I try my best to catch hope, you know, and this is not easy. Because within the time, it's getting worse here in this land. Unfortunately, this is the Holy Land, and we are a Christian family, originally Christian family. One of the origin.
His grandfather or great-grandfather? His grandfather was a priest, a Greek Orthodox priest.
He was priest since the 30s till he died, passed away in 75. And it's not easy to get permission to go to Jerusalem. For instance, sorry.
Is that the phone?
That's a good ringtone.
It's a famous song. Well, everybody here, if he wanna go to Jerusalem, he should have a permission from the Israeli government. So it's not easy to, and it's not easy to get the permission. It's not easy at all. So we get permissions through churches, through our church, through any church here. They apply for their people to get permission, but it doesn't necessarily you will get the permission. Since 2000, I didn't get permission.
Since 2000?
Yes, they don't give anybody. And last year I was too furious about this, and I went to military base. It's near Bethlehem area. I want to see why. I want to go to Jerusalem, to the holy sites. Since too long I didn't been there. I like to be there. I like to pray there.
Sure.
So I went there, or I argued them more than 2 hours, and they told me this is for security reason, you will not get permission. I said, okay, for security reason, I am here. If you want anything from me, I am here. What you want from me? Tell me. They said, we can't tell you. Okay. Is there anybody I could see, a captain or whatever?
Sure. Right. Up the line.
I could wait for hours, or I could return back, but I want to see what you want. They said, no. Okay. Give me a paper that you are refusing me. I want to give this paper for my lawyer. Although the lawyers here will take so much money, but this is...
That's the same in the United States.
Yes. What you want? A paper? We don't give any papers. No.
No written evidence.
But there was an Arabic captain working there. I don't know if you know the Druze. They are Arabs. And they are not exactly Muslims, but they are living in the Golan Heights. And they could join the army.
Yes.
One of them, he was there. And so he came, he saw me very furious, and I was arguing them. He came, what you want exactly? He told me. So I told him I was with Abir, because I was really afraid to go alone. Well, it's a military base, you know.
Yeah.
I said I want a permission. Why you are not giving me a permission? He said, okay, look. I saw in the computer it's forbidden for security reasons to get a permission, but I will help you in a way. There are certain permission that gives for people. I will put your name in that
list.
In that list, yes. Okay. give me your phone number. I gave him my phone number. And I went back home. I have nothing. I can't argue more.
Right.
Nothing to do.
It's all said.
They are, after maybe 10 days, he phoned me. I have your permission in my hand. I said, wow. But they gave me a permission for 2 weeks. And that was okay for me. I went to the holy places, and but that was extraordinary, I could say.
Yes.
That was for once.
Yes.
It's not anymore, because they are too away from us to feel this.
Right.
In the past, they used to feel this, but not anymore.
Well, in our country, the government, people build a house, say, and then the government subsidizes the rent, so that the person living, if they are poor, the person only has to pay 30% of their income for rent and utilities.
You know, not Balfour. Well, Balfour gave a promise for the Israelis and the Palestinians, or the Arabs, but he kept his promise for the Israelis. He gave them the land, but he doesn't own the land to give.
Palestine is a land that there is no people inside it, and we need the land to put. We need people to put them in this land. So the people will be the Israeli people. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard this today.
But that was political issue, because the British in that time were thinking that here will be a small colony for the British. So they will have influence, because within the years in the past, everybody is thinking that I should have something inside the Middle East. I need something. So they were building Israel as a colony for the British. And when it collapsed, now the Americans or the American government think the same. We need a power inside the Middle East. And Israel was the power. And from here, they get the support of the American government. Besides, they changed something related to religion. So many people, Christians, believe that Israel have the right for the land here. This is not true. This is not the Christians' religion.
Right.
But they change it, and they teach it in schools. We are not against the existence of Israel, and we feel that the Jews have suffered a lot through history, especially from the Holocaust. But for God's sake, another Holocaust is happening here. The Israelis is doing another Holocaust for the Palestinians. So somebody should say something about it. And unfortunately, till now, most of the world is behind this, what's happening inside Palestine. Because if we go to our news, which you don't hear about it, every day they are killing, every day they are demolishing houses, every day they are coming to Area A, I'm talking about Area A, arresting people, put them in jail. So if you are living here and you are waiting your turn, so you are losing hope here. People are losing hope here. And they are waiting their turn, that something gonna happen to them. And this is, if you lose hope, you will do anything. So it's not an easy issue.
Pay them to let them put their sign on their
On that
building.
side, yeah. I'm sure can't take it.
Can't hardly stand to think about it.
Can't do it. What a beautiful, beautiful world. It was fairly political, but the sun is rising over Bethlehem, right over our shoulders here.
I love it.
I just want to take a moment and ask you guys first. Steve, we'll go with you. What's it been like for you this week?
It has. I do not remember when I first wanted to come to the Holy Land, but I was very young, and it has just been a lifelong dream. It's amazing.
Has this trip panned out to what you envisioned?
More than what I had expected.
Let's go to Raleigh now. Raleigh, what would you say?
Well, I'm going to have to agree with Steve there. I tell you, I'm not exactly sure what I expected, but it's been more than I expected. That's just an unbelievable experience that now the Bible truly does come to life now. I see where Jesus walked, and I can't read the Bible the same ever again.
Of course, the million-dollar question at this point would be, with 3 days to go, I believe, will you swim in the Dead Sea?
I'm planning on it.
I've got my swimsuit with me.
That'll be a threesome.
In the fourth grade, I remember hearing that I could float easily in the Dead Sea.
I remember that.
And I have been wanting to do that ever since.
Yep. I have too. I've always thought that'd be really something, so I'm planning on it, no matter how cold it is.
That's me.
And Shepherdsfield, Beit Zahor. So I believe most of you maybe went to the area of Beit Zahor. So remember, I will be visiting my friend, picking some nice cucumbers from the field of Shepherdsfield. I like here for at least 2 nights. The other side of this mountain is the monastery of Gravesend, producing excellent wine here from the local vineyards in the area.
What is today? Somebody?
Sunday.
Sunday, thank you. When I don't know what day it is.
Okay.
I'm on vacation. That's a good persuade that night. Yeah. Duh, I should look and show you everything. That's not working out.
That this is very special to us. It's difficult for us to imagine how special that is for you, that we should even want to participate and to know of the choices that you have made and set before us. So we ask that as we continue our journey today, that your presence might surround us, not only with safety as we travel, but with the assurance of your love and care for each one of us as individuals, and pray that we might respond in a way to each other that would be the correct thing as you have set the example for us. We acknowledge again your graciousness and your goodness to us, and pray that the words that are said, the thoughts that are calculated in us, and the opportunities that we have might bring joy and pleasure to you, who has brought so much joy and pleasure to us. Lord, we thank you again.
Sababa Day. Happy, happy, happy. The sun is shining. We were singing You Are My Sunshine with my sunshine people. Look at this beautiful road. This valley has another name, Gehanna Valley.
We've been looking over there.
It joins in with the Kidron Valley. So it's yes, whispers on, of course. Don't forget to whisper. Here we are, all the way down the valley, even the all over the place. So we're joining with the Kidron Valley, which is right here on the right side. And it's a beautiful view. From here we're going to see the Pool of Siloam. Are you with me? So I'd like to have your cameras ready as well. The Pool of Siloam very soon. We're going to feel and see also the City of David for those who didn't get a chance to see the City of David. On the right side, by the way, on the right side, that is the ancient town of Siloam. And we will see the water on the right. There's a channel of water. Look here, شوي. You can see the water coming to the aqueduct. Here, that is the Pool of Siloam, located in the southern part of the City of David. Okay?
I don't see any water.
You know, it has not been excavated yet, but this is the place. So we're going up one of the valleys. This valley is known as the Valley of course, Central Valley. It's known as the Central Valley.
What happened at the Pool of Siloam?
The Pool of Siloam, the blind man was healed at the Pool of Siloam.
Thank you.
when Jesus spit on the ground
didn't realize my thing was on
and took the dirt and wiped the face of the man and told him to go and wash his face in the pool of Siloam.
City of David. One.
Old City of David. Inside the walls of Jerusalem.
There we go. The western wall, the Wailing Wall, is actually the holiest place for the Jewish people, and people pray towards the wall because they're not really worshipping the wall, they're praying towards what's inside the wall. That's the Temple Mount, the temple that was here, and we have a separation, men and women. The women are to the right side, you see to the right side, and you can go all the way down. The men, you can go in from the left side, where the left side section, you have to have a hat. If you don't have a hat, they have disposable yarmulke only for the men. Think. Go down. See this area to the right? Go down. Go down.
This is Jonathan Baum. I'm his father, Dean Baum. This is Jonathan's bar mitzvah trip. He's going to be putting tefillin on for the first time at the Kotel, and his bar mitzvah, God willing, Mitzvah Hashem, will be March 7th back in Brooklyn, New York.
He's been looking forward to this for a long time.
12 years. It's very good. He's having a very good time.
When you heard about the Wailing Wall, the Western Wall, young man, is this what you expected? It's different, isn't it? You excited today? Well, congratulations and go Yankees.
Thank you very much.
You have a love. This is our holy place. This is where our forefathers were here, and our history is here. And this is a place where we came years ago to serve God, and it was destroyed, but we still have a little piece of it, and we come back, and our history is here. And if you go on some of the tours, hopefully you go on some of the tours, and they'll show you a rock protrusion that at one time was a bridge. And there's so much history here, and last night we were not only here but in Jerusalem proper. All the kids were there, so there were thousands of Jewish kids from all over the world, and they were all hanging out and talking to each other, and it's great. So it's home, and it's nice to be here, and we all aspire to come back and live here one day.
He's kind of been having more.
You live here in Israel?
I've been in Israel for the last 35 years or so.
Where were you born?
Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn. You know, there's a sign that I saw in Brooklyn. You've seen it. Believe the hype. Brooklyn, New York. Believe the hype.
No, I never saw that.
Okay. So what's it like for you? These youngins here are connected to you. That your
grandchildren.
And I guess this is part of. This is important to you that early on in their lives they understand this.
Well, actually, my brother is over there, and he came from America, from New York, and he's making a bar mitzvah for his son. And we all came just to say, to be with him. So we took the children along with us.
You've been here many times.
Yeah, for sure.
You still feel a solid spiritual connection.
Definitely. It's a holy spot.
God is good.
He's very good to us. Sometimes we don't realize it, but he's always good to us. In the end, we see that everything was for good.
Instead of people after 70 AD immersing in the water, full of food immersed in the water, they just wash their hands, before touching the wall. It's a holy wall. It's a holy wall, and it's not only that section is the holy wall. All around the wall of the temple is holy. So the temple was contained within 4 walls. This is known as the Western Wall. It continues further north and further south to the pinnacle of the temple, and the Southern Wall and the Eastern Wall that we saw from Mount of Olives yesterday. So the wall that we were looking and saying that is the wall of the old city was in actuality the wall of the Western Wall of the temple that was here, and we can see, as we will be visiting now, the large stones. The large stones of the wall that was here during the Second Temple period. Are we clear? Not the first, but the Second Temple period. Now everywhere we dig we find antiquities, Roman streets, Roman corridors and so forth. So we have a lot of remnants from the Roman period or from the Second Temple period. We don't have a lot of remnants from the First Temple period. Are we clear on that? Nobody, to be honest with you, knows exactly the location where the Holy Covenant or the Ark of the Covenant was located within the Holy of Holies. Could have been to the right, to the left. Nobody knows. But all the grounds up there, the platform is a holy platform. Okay? And so anytime you will be stepping there on the platform, you can be stepping also where the Ark of the Covenant was. But it's a huge area. It's around 144,000 square meters, which is around 12 soccer fields. It's a huge, gigantic area, lifted over arches. A lot of arches, subterranean tunnels, and the platform is exactly the marking where you see the small stones. That is where the people walk on the platform over there. So the platform, from the top, you can almost touch the wall. You can almost touch the wall. From here, you can see it's deep and very high wall. And it's a beautiful wall. Has nothing to do with the walls of Jerusalem. It's a retaining wall of the temple that was here. Are we clear on that? So that's why it's called the Western Wall, because it's the western wall or the western retaining wall of the temple that was here, that was built during the Second Temple period. That's a very big deal for us to prove that Jerusalem was a Roman city, to prove that we have many streets and a lot of Cardo Maximus, that's meaning the main streets of Jerusalem are the Decamenos. You can see it's a marketplace, and it extended from more of the north of the city, and it came all the way to this point, and the exit. This wall wasn't here, forget this wall, went out, and the other one went to the Central Valley, and the other one on that side went. So we have a lot of valleys. Underneath us we have also a drainage system. Idiot.
Pushes the stones like that. Back. Okay? Marvin. Okay. Next to each other. Anybody else? The plate is called the plate. We call these steps the Holy Steps or the Teaching Steps. Those were also entrances coming to the temple from the lower city, that is the city of David. Where's the city of David? Down there. So we had steps coming down, or coming up from the lower part, or coming down from the upper part to the lower city. Those are holy steps because they were the steps to the temple. If we look on the left side behind you, you will see an arch with it. It's either Khulda or Hulda, Hulda gates. And you can see one of the entrances. It was restored by Herod the Great, and it does have another entrance to the upper platform. You with me? Of course, this is not accessible, but I've seen it. I know it. What looks like you will enter. So one of the traditional or one of the new theological thoughts, are you with me, of the older tradition, is that the Stations of the Cross, once we are doing the tradition, is not the original one. The original one, the trial of Jesus is from here, all the way to the Holy Sepulchre. Are you with me? Because Jesus would have been trialed also at the Praetorium, that is known as the Lithostrotos, at the flagstones inside the palace. Do we have the palace? And the answer is no. We don't have any excavation because it falls within the Armenian quarter.
Marvin, you can get one real fast. Yeah.
Can I pass please?
You had a greenhouse there.
Now inside the Holy Tomb here we have only one bench for one person, meaning it was a tomb that was never used before. It was a clean tomb. That's the whole point. It was a clean tomb. The other burials that was found in the vicinity, it was a public burial. So sometimes they use niches with burials and close them. Sometimes we use benches. And the tomb of Christ was a bench. And Jesus was placed on a bench. And the bench is located on this side of the wall, on this side of the wall, on the inner part of the wall. Okay? And that is the bench. And then it was covered with a slab of marble to protect it, but it was hewn in the rock, meaning the same cave, you know, where they carved into the rock to make the tomb and the burial, they made the carved in the bench, and that was on the right side of the main entrance of the You can see the frescoes depicting many things. This is part of the holy site of the church. Everything around You can see the plaster, which is plumbed originally plaster, and then before it was burned. So go to the Nice and fine. This way we're going to continue.
Right in front of you.
Shot.
feet. Boy, barefoot. You made an impression with your shoes.
No, I mean, no. No, yes.
To chodźcie, pójdziemy pod prąd, nie? Parka z tego na kolejna. Tam jest
Up to that building, further from that building.
My son does that. He gets migraine. My son, if he gets to migraine, he's going to get a migraine.
Lovely wife to the spring. You might send them, never come back. You know, you want to land of water. Total of water. Now, in this very location, north of the pool,
Only 20 shekels to the top. You have the most beautiful panorama of Jerusalem, the Ascension, Gethsemane.
5 miles. We're going there first. We are into the Dead Sea region. Into the Dead Sea region.
It's very deep. I think we're going to. You know, it's good for many diseases. Not only from now, but from ancient times. They valued the Dead Sea. The salt was more valuable than gold in the past. Still, it makes good, awesome taste for the food, especially the meat. And we're going to come and swim here in this area on the left side. That will be the private area. So we can see a date farm. They can water a mud. It just goes back. It has to be treated properly. You know, the mud and the salt. So, by the way, this is the area of Qumran. We're going to come here and visit and have lunch also in Qumran. So, you know, we're spending the whole day. It's kind of relaxation. I've prepared a bath for you. And once they start going in the bathtub, they start floating in the water. Oh, see, and the only place the Dead Sea was swimming, but the Dead Sea was coming closer to this point. Not anywhere. So when it's raining, it's covered with water. The water that comes from the flash, also rocks falling down, blocking this area. So it can be dangerous. Sometimes it will tell us not to come. I told you, whatever happens here stays here, okay?
Are we leaving the West Bank area now?
You know what? I'm gonna give you a prize. How did you know that?
Because we're going through a checkpoint.
You are. I can tell you, I'm gonna give you a big golden prize.
Hey, I might be slow, but I get it eventually.
Nobody ever knew that. This is the first time I hear that. And from now, it becomes this way. The checkpoint, you cannot proceed more.
know what I mean? So that's very smart, man. Thank you. Please do not look to the left side of the bus now. There's nothing but original on that. You know, because I went to... Did I guys tell you about my journey going to America when I was young? Nothing. You know, the last farewell when they last saw each other. And then David went further down to the desert of Haran and further south. And then the whole story with David, of course, hearing the news about the death of King Saul and his friend Jonathan and everybody else. That's in the area of Beit Sha'an. So Beit Sha'an all the way up. On the same road, This is road number 9. Who's looking at the map? Anybody looking at the map? I was gonna give you a prize, but synagogue that dates us to the 5th century. And by the way, we have, look at it, this is the water factory producing mineral water from the underwater springs here. Look how beautiful it looks. It looks like the Grand Canyon inside, by the way. When you hike, it takes you inside. It's so beautiful.
Well, but the little Tetons, those are the deposits, Ed.
Oh, look at the tram.
You know, maybe something light.
Because we'll need our jackets for that. I'm taking mine. It says it's 36 degrees.
Made in Switzerland. So it's a very smooth ride. Very smooth ride. Are you with me? It's a very smooth ride. So we have to stay together because there's a process. You know, first of all, you go through the main door, make a left, another left to use the restroom.
The talented historian and writer Josephus Flavius wrote about almost 2,000 years ago. His account contains all the elements of a fantastic drama in which Jews, Romans, and idealists fight to the death. It's no wonder that Hollywood jumped at the opportunity to tell this fascinating story. With an impressive set and thousands of extras, they created a colossal film featuring the rebel leader Eleazar, son of Yair, and the Roman commander Flavius Silva in the leading roles. However, in the movie, unlike real life, no one really deals with the dilemmas or personal struggles, and certainly not with the more problematic aspects of the story. Then where should we start our story? We can start with the Osmanians, who were the first to discover the advantages of this isolated cliff in the heart of the desert. Or we could start at the end, with a dramatic project of the Masada excavations, with Yigal Yadin, the head of the excavation team, who would stand on the mountain and read Josephus Flavius' description of the account, and everyone around him could actually hear the echoes of the fighting. Or we could start the quest with King Herod. Herod, who ruled under the auspices of the Romans, built himself a magnificent fortress here on the mountain, which was to be his sanctuary in troubled times. And believe me, he really had troubles. Herod, like any other king, built his palaces to the highest standards of his day. One of them is this Western Palace. Herod's architect was probably a short guy. Here he built himself a bathhouse. And he would put his lamp here and enter his bath. What can I tell you? This king loved the good life. Until now, we spoke about Herod. It wasn't the splendor of Herod's style that made Masada what it is today. The year is 66 AD. The Jews rebel against the Roman Empire. 4 years later, the temple is destroyed. Jerusalem falls. Everywhere else, the rebels were suppressed. Masada is the last stronghold where there are still Jewish rebels. And believe me, they didn't need Herod's palaces. The rooms in the wall were divided and used as living quarters. They lived from food in the storerooms, and they drank water from the cisterns, kindly left behind by Herod long ago.
Right from the beginning of the excavations, signs of the rebels were found elsewhere, in the palaces, in the ritual baths, and in particular in the wall. The deepest experience I went through in Masada was when they found in this particular room the first piece of scroll. To see Hebrew letters coming out of the ground, the same letters which are used until today. Later, more fragments of scrolls were found. One I found with my own hands, but the first experience is unforgettable.
Throughout the revolt, groups of refugees sought asylum on the mountain. About 1,000 rebels gathered at this fortress in the heart of the wilderness. In 73 AD, the Romans' 10th Legion arrived with thousands of armed soldiers who deployed themselves around the mountain. an enormous war machine. And the movies do it best, after the Romans, of course. The Romans build an attack ramp. The besieged rebels roll stones down it. The Romans lift a tower to the top of the ramp, equipped with a battering ram to smash the wall. The besieged erect a wood and earthen wall to sustain the blows of the battering ram. The Romans burn it, but the wind almost burns their own tower. Then the wind veering as if by divine providence to the south, blowing with full force in the opposite direction, flung flames against the wall, which now was all ablaze. And in the evening, when the wall was burnt and breached, the Roman army returned to its camps, assured that the whole affair would be over by morning. But Eleazar had ideas of his own. This is it, the last night. My friends, we've reached the climax of the drama. However, unlike the movie, here apparently the events actually took place. And here at Masada, men with families were forced to decide slavery or death. Eleazar had no doubts, but he had yet to convince his comrades in arms. Ladies and gentlemen, the speech of Eleazar. Oh, my loyal followers, the time has now come that obliges us to make that resolution true in practice. Let our wives die before they are abused, and our children before they have tasted of slavery, and preserve ourselves in freedom as an excellent funeral monument for us, as we have preferred death before slavery. Once Iga El-Yadin was asked what was the most important artifact he found on Masada. Dozens of priceless objects were found here, he answered, but if I must point to one find, it would be these ostraka. These potsherds. These may be the lots that I'm holding now. Potsherds on which the rebels wrote their names. 10 men who were chosen were the only ones who remained. Their equipment had already burned, and each of them had already killed his wife and children. Then they drew the lots. Who would kill the 9th man and fall on his own sword? And in the morning the Romans arrived, and besides 2 women and a few children, everyone was dead. After the drama came silence. The silence was broken in the 5th century for nearly 200 years by a community of Byzantine monks. 1,200 years later, the first explorers came and rediscovered the mountain. Then the members of the youth movements, seeking a symbol of Jewish heroism, discovered Masada and adopted the mountain. After them came the hikers and the tourists. Masada had become a focus of pilgrimage. Professor Netzer, what do you really think about the act of courage that ended in suicide?
Maybe it's the utmost courage to prefer death to a life of slavery.
So it's death or freedom?
Yes, death as a free man or slavery at the hands of the Romans. Which choice would you make?
No matter what, Masada has become a symbol of staunch resistance against a fierce enemy. And if it is a symbol, then perhaps this might be some kind of victory. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to climb the mountain.
Are your friends doing okay? I can get my iPad. They are. Hold my bag, and I'll try to. This is it.
Considering my whole family was
Rise and shine and give God your glory. Rise and shine and give God your glory. Glory, rise and shine and give God your glory.
We went over a deep canyon, deeper
Docking in.
Kirk to Enterprise, we are
Kirk, yeah, what's up?
We are off the tram, and now we are atop Masada. Graceland University on Masada.
This path and relax there and wait for us. For the rest you can continue, you know what I mean? Maybe it's just... No, you're going the wrong way. We are here. Come this way. Alright, this way, because there's a path. Masada is the most visited archaeological site in the country, and probably one of the most important places in the world. Now, the Masada, the fortress, is similar to the fortresses that we have seen on the way as we were driving from the Sea of Galilee to the area of Jericho. When I said that there are lots of fortresses, and I've mentioned some of the fortresses like Sartaba, which was known as Alexandrion, here Kanos, and also the big fortress located on the Mount of Temptation that was known as Dok. Remember, there was on the Mount of Temptation another fortress. And we saw from a distance Herodion. Herodion was the place where, of course, Herod the Great was buried. He died in Jericho, and he was buried in Herodion, in his fortress that is in the vicinity of Bethlehem. Now, Masada became a very important stronghold because it has to do with the Jewish history and in relation to the destruction of the temple that took place in 70 AD. And of course, this was the place where most of the rebels came and resided on this fortress. That's why we are here. And it became the symbol for the Jewish people as the people chose freedom rather than slavery. And so we're going to see the area, the whole area, how they lived here in a way. The palaces that were built by Herod the Great, because this was a very important palace and ported location for Herod the Great, as he used to come a lot to the Dead Sea. Why? Because he had skin disease, probably that has something to do with syphilis. That's why he was getting cuckoo. And that's why he resided a little bit in the area of Jericho. You know, at certain times he used to go a lot to the Dead Sea. And at the same time, one of the times when he was treated with hot oil, he lost consciousness. People thought that he was dead. So they were dancing and, you know, they were enjoying themselves.
Celebrating.
Then all of a sudden, he rose up again. I'm not dead. You guys are celebrating because I'm dead? So he killed. So he was a very brutal man. We say Herod the Great, he was, of course, a Roman citizen. What we need to notice and understand is that even though this fortress was built by Herod the Great when he ruled, he fortified it, it was built on the remnants of an old Hasmonean fortress. The Hasmonites, when they ruled the country, they made a lot of fortresses. And of course, Herod the Great enlarged the construction of the fortresses, especially this one. The main reason for that is because as when he escaped from the Hasmonites, he took refuge here. That was when he was escaping to Egypt. Then he brought in the Roman soldiers with him. And of course, he knew the importance of the fortresses. We are located here at a very strategic point, very close to Jordan, and also very close on the road or the route of trade. We're very close to the spice road as well. And so Herod the Great knew the importance, the importance of trade, and that would have brought in a lot of income. Listen to me, they came this path down, and they camped in many camps. Are you with me? Now one of the camps is that. See that camp over there, the huge total, that's the largest one. All around the fortress, we had a wall. Now the Romans, to get close to the fortress, because you can see it's kind of a separation or a mountain that is Arad. Beautiful cities located. Those were the two cities that Moses couldn't cross into the promised land from the south, and they were kind of pushed back. Beersheba, just right there on the other side, just straight ahead. So when you want to come this path, you have to go and camp somewhere. Sleeping in a tent, all of you, and I'm sleeping in a nice room, of course. But we light up fires, and you can see some of the tents there, usually they are. And also, then we come up this ramp. The camels, like the Bedouin, ride the camels as they used to 2,000 years ago. But the whole point is that the Romans came to meet us. Ben Gurion, he chose to die in the Negev. It's Sde Boker, where the burial of Ben Gurion.
What's the line on the wall?
The line on the wall, meaning everything along the line is original. Everything above is reconstructed.
Mike, what, did they commit suicide by killing themselves when they jump off or what? They killed themselves. They're up here.
Yeah, because there was that guy I want to show you how the transfer was. So, there's a trick how you used to get into the quarters. One kind of thing would have been from the side, and there's another. That's how, why the Jordan River is from Yemen all the way into the Dead Sea, and it's the main source of water feeding the Dead Sea. Now we're controlling the water of the River Jordan. A lot of water goes through the corridors, and so no more, and nada. You know, it's just only if we're lucky. We are depending on the flash floods more than anything else. But you can have good weather.
Okay, I'll do it, but I have a question. You said that the buffer line was new.
Here? No. I want you to point to me. You're so close. There would have been the area where they entered. It's not square. All the rooms are, kind of rectangular, right? Except one surface in the wall. Right there, see? It's rectangular. Rectangular is triangle. So if I was running, I would think that this wall is blocked. It's covered, dark. Nobody knows that there was, you can get in here. Now if you go one at a time, you are gonna kill me with a sword or stab me as I'm coming like that. I don't know whom to expect. I'm going to turn like that. I'm moving very fast. So here was I'm right here. Different parties as well. And there would have been also a little bit of a kind of bathtub over here. So when you can go down, this was outdoors. Yeah, this fight really, right?
Excuse me, hello.
That's what he said.
Over the counter here, they made this spot. They would put a huge part, all the dead skin off. And then they put oils on you, treatment, and the massage. Oh my God. Brand new. And you are hungry. You are hungry. You see that? They're also on the right side.
Right
No,
side,
they're
right
happy,
side.
happy.
Been shot at.
Oh, it's right here. I have some here. See?
Oh, heck.
Just like that. We're gonna give Abed the prize. Let's give Abed the big hand. Good job. Oh, my. Then half is for Israel. So please, when you are floating, don't fall asleep, because you can end up in Jordan. You know what I mean? Happy, happy, happy. You know. Nice area. Oh, I see Egypt down there. And tents, people climate, and it's all film in relation to the swim. You can see the hot springs. Look at the hot springs on the right side.
Oh, yeah.
Hot springs, so people come and swim in the sulfuric hot springs.
Do you want to sit here? I mean, because I can.
No, we're good. So is this the sister?
Sorry about that. The Turks, they wanted to reward the Israeli government before they gave up Jericho to the Palestinians. And they said to them on that witness that was hidden from the Turkish period. And when Israel came to look for that cave, they couldn't find the cave. Camouflage it, it's not going to appear like a cave. So what they did, they bombed they found it because it was a hidden treasures. So can we find hidden caves here and treasures? Of course, 20 degrees.
We are at the Dead Sea, and look at the way these people look when they've come out of it. This is the scene as people come on down. They come on down after they go into the beach house, and change.
Yeah, that would be good stuff to wear at a football game, wouldn't it?
Well, and as we look, here's the beach. And then as we look down there, this is Paul Davis. I don't believe it. Something I read about at Catholic school in Baltimore, Maryland in the 5th grade. The Dead Sea, where they said you could float without even trying. I didn't believe it. This is Raleigh, and he's taking advantage of some of the mud that's supposed to have medicinal properties.
Wow, I feel great!
But with the skin condition that he's got, I don't think anything will help. Here comes Dwight, Mr. Marathon Man.
Okay, I can do ballet, water ballet.
He always wanted to be able to do this, and now, oh, here comes his wife.
Come on, right leg, left leg.
So can you describe the sensation?
Well, it's kind of like helium.
His body, now are you making any effort to stay afloat?
Yes, I'm paddling with my hands extremely hard.
He's also a hand for the camera. We'll go over here. We've got Sharon, who stumbled when she first came into the pool of Bethesda.
That was intended.
That was
my mud bag.
That was a dramatic entry.
Yes, yes.
And then my mother-in-law, Joyce Conrad. Here is Joyce in the Dead Sea. She is floating. She will not get her hair wet. And then there's my wife Evelyn. I haven't seen her float yet.
Paul, what? We need some of this magic fairy dust, and you can do it too.
Not right now while I'm filming, Dwight.
You need a little bit more.
The man I replaced many years ago. And here we are together. There's Dwight. Dwight has not been drinking. He is.
Pastor Paul. Pastor Paul.
I'm going for
oh my God, look at there. He calls himself Pastor Paul. And if his congregation could see him now, it'll be the end of his ministry.
The man from the land of black.
Marvin Short made the mistake. He went under his face.
Doesn't that hurt?
And there is Mr. Calloway.
Only when I wipe the mud off.
Steve Calloway.
Look at your mouth.
He is floating. My body is starting to tingle. Anybody else's? And there's Jerry Mogg. Look at Jerry.
Jerry Mugg?
Hey, Paul.
Yes, Evelyn.
Right here, somebody.
Who? Where? Look at how he's able to balance the shoes on his stomach while floating alongside his fearless companion. And this, look, another one of our group. She said she was afraid to go in, but then she had the courage at the end. And then there's Joyce again. There is Beth. Beth was a little hesitant at first. I knew she'd have a reaction to that. And there's Betty. Come on in, Betty. The water's fine. You can always replace your jeans.
I need some mud on you.
Elaine Steenon. Elaine, if you take your time and get out here, it's flatter. Elaine Steenon from Ann Arbor, Michigan. That is one hot woman.
She said. She said this ain't.
You know, Dwight, I think, is having more fun than an adult his age should be allowed to have.
Evelyn, it's a good look on you.
It's the age that's the problem.
This stuff on me. And he picked it up and he got a magnet and you could see all the little minerals. Okay, you know what's weird? My butt is so hard. Yeah, mine is too. I know, that's the scary part.
Sharon, how do you feel?
I feel buoyant.
Isn't this the best trip that Graceland's ever taken?
It is the only trip I've ever taken with Graceland.
And you have to tell him the magic word.
Sababa.
No.
You know, that will give me some more time to explain more in detail. So, you come from the same area? At the end of the Via Dolorosa is located the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is the tradition that was established by the mother of Emperor Constantine, Helena. Now, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre was established in the 4th century and was identified first of all by a priest from Caesarea by the name of Eusebius. According to Eusebius, the place of the crucifixion was located under the shrine of Venus that was built by Hadrian after the revolt of Bar Kokhba in the year 135. In the year 135, one of the biggest revolts took place here in Jerusalem, and it was led by this man who was given the name Bar Kokhba, which was his nickname, which was a messianic title, because they believed that Bar Kokhba was the Messiah, and that he was going to free the children of Israel from the oppression from the Romans. And that is why he was identified as the Bar Kokhba, or the son of the star. Now, during that period of time, there was a big war that went for about 4 years. And at the time, Hadrian, who was the governor of the province of Palestine here, he captured the rebels and he killed them all. and he was fed up with the rebellion of the Jews, and he decided that he wanted to destroy the city of Jerusalem, and he wiped out the city of Jerusalem. What year was it? In 139. Now, after he destroyed the city of Jerusalem, on top of it, he built another city, and he called it Aelia Capitolina. Now, when he built the city, or rebuilt the city, he built the city with a different structure, with the structure of a Roman camp, with the two major streets, the Decumanus Maximus and the Carus Maximus. And according to Eusebius, this priest from Caesarea, in the place of the crucifixion, he built a shrine dedicated to a Roman goddess, Venus, which is the equivalent of Aphrodite in the Greek mythology. Now, where does the tradition of Eusebius come from? Some people believe that it comes from a monk from the 3rd century by the name of Macarius. According to Macarius, he wrote a document known as Macarius' List today. And in this document, he talks about the place where the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is today. Now, a rule of thumb in history and also in archaeology, the closer the tradition is to the time when the event took place, the more reliable the tradition is. That is also how you identify the authenticity of historical writings. And that is why we do see that the gospel accounts are very reliable too, because of the time frame that there is, or the time span that there is between the time when the event took place and the writing of the first gospel. Now, of course, there are exceptions to the rule. Nevertheless, that is a rule of thumb that people normally use for authenticating the validity and the historicity of historical accounts. Now, for centuries, for close to 1700 years, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre has been known as the traditional site for the crucifixion, burial, and resurrection of our Lord Jesus. Now, in recent centuries, people begin to identify this location right here as another possibility for the place of the crucifixion of our Lord. In 1842, the first one to identify this place was a German theologian by the name of Otto Thenius. Now, Otto Thenius